What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, and today we're going to be looking at Tottenham's set-piece issues. Obviously, it's been widely reported from last season that Spurs have been having some fair share of issues with defending set pieces, attacking set pieces as well. We've conceded only one corner this season, but people still bemoan the fact that Spurs do have an issue with defending set pieces. So we're here to dispel that fact, and we're going to look into the narrative around the set pieces and tell you why Spurs don't have an issue with defending set pieces anymore.
Yeah, because look, let's be honest, last season was a bit of a disaster from set pieces, wasn't it? I think it's fair to say we were atrocious from set pieces. That wasn't a myth. But I feel like this season, and it was also a bit at the back end of last season as well, we did do a few things to start to correct those issues, and I don't think we've been given the credit maybe we deserve for changing things from set pieces. And we're going to do a comparison, a bit of stats from last season, this season, and also look at a couple of screenshots of what we're doing from corners and see what's changed.
Yeah, and it was all kind of like, I was going to say started, but I'm talking about the good side of defending set pieces started after that Arsenal game, because we conceded 2 in the first half. We were 3-0 down at half time. And I felt like after that, I don't think we conceded another one, or maybe just one after that from at that point till the end of the season, to conceding set pieces. And then obviously we conceded one against Arsenal. And then after the Arsenal game, I was like, oh, we're so bad from set pieces and all this kind of nonsense. So I do think that we have got a lot better, and Ange was clearly stating at the back end of last season, oh, I'm not worried about this, I'm not worried about that, but he does kind of work in the background, doesn't he, and fix the problem. So let's go and have a look at the data.
All right, so we're gonna look at also how we're doing from attacking set pieces as well, but we'll start with defensive set pieces, and we'll give you an indication. So this is data from FBref. What we're looking at here is shot creating actions teams have conceded from set-piece situations. So this actually does include free kicks, corners, kickoffs, throw-ins and goal kicks. But obviously not many chances are created from throw-ins and goal kicks.
Unless you're playing against Stoke.
And kickoffs, or Brentford from kickoffs as well. So, yeah, it does happen. But this is a pretty good indication how many chances you are conceding from set-pieces, free kicks and corners. And as you see, this is last season's stats, by the way. So last season, shot creating actions conceded from set pieces, we were third in the league. Only Man United and Sheffield United conceded more.
I didn't actually realise Man United were that bad at defending the set pieces.
100 shot creating actions conceded from set pieces. These are not goals, obviously. I don't know. I don't have the data for exact goals, but this is chances essentially, or shots you concede from shot creating actions. So last season we were third in the league in terms, or third lowest essentially, or third highest for shots conceded. Now if you look at this season, we're not the best, but no, sorry, this is here we are. We're now near the bottom of the league, so we're 14th now for shots conceded from set piece situations. So that's a big reduction from last season. Again, small sample size, only 8 games, so I guess it's maybe after like 20 games you get a better indication, but clearly it's trending in the right direction.
Which is the number?
Here, it's about 14th now.
No, what's the number of shot creating actions? 13.
13 in 8 games.
Yeah, so when you look at it, the narrative between Spurs' defence and Arsenal's defence is there's a big disparity there. Arsenal got one of the best defences in Europe. They seem to be spot on with defending their set pieces. Spurs are completely open at the back. They're clueless from set pieces. There's only one chance difference there, and that's actually in the favour of Tottenham.
Yeah, Spurs have actually conceded one less chance than Arsenal in terms of set pieces. We're not far off the likes of Man City as well. Obviously, right down the bottom is actually Brighton,
which is surprising, actually.
Quite surprising. But so definitely it's trending in the right direction. Much better than last season, as we saw. Like last season, we were conceding chances left, right, and centre from set pieces. And that seems to have been dramatically reduced. Again, last season's obviously a 38-game sample. This season's an 8-game sample. But I think this stat as well, you can bring on the screen. This was tweeted out by Max Jacob Lindman. XG conceded from set pieces and corners so far this season after game week 8, so this is after the weekend. Tottenham third lowest in the league at the moment for XG conceded. So that also goes to the level of chances we're conceding from set pieces, which is very low, 1.52 over 8 games.
And you know why? Over an 8-game sample size, why it's more impressive maybe, because the two teams that we faced is Arsenal and Everton, who last season were two of the strongest teams from set pieces.
Yeah, true. And as you say, we faced them. West Ham as well, notoriously good from set pieces, albeit maybe it's a bit different now under Lopetegui. But obviously last season, they were very good at set pieces.
I think the three strongest teams from set pieces last year were Arsenal, Man City, and Everton. I think those two were the three teams. Obviously, we haven't faced a Man City yet, but to face Arsenal and to face Everton and still be, quite favourably in the stats, I think that's quite impressive.
Yeah, so I guess the question is what has brought on this change? Why are we conceding less chances from corner situations? So I did a one-to-one comparison between a corner we conceded last year to West Ham and a corner on the weekend. So this is last season. This is a screenshot of we actually conceded this to Zuma. Zuma scored in this situation. We ended up drawing the game 1-1. So how we're set up here, as you say, pretty much zonal marking. Got Porro there at the front post, Udogie at the back post, Basuma inside the 6-yard box. You've got actually Romero and Van de Ven in the zonal areas. Obviously, there's a player backing into Basuma who's backing into Vicario. You've got Son, Werner, I think Brennan Johnson, obviously looking to pick up, doing the man marking, looking to pick up their men a bit further out from goal. I think in this situation, obviously, Kurt Zouma ends up stealing round the back and getting a goal. And he's not picked up here in this image, as you can see. But Bentancur is kind of half doing the front posting, but not really. He's much more in the 6-yard box. If anything, Porro is probably the one doing the front post job, looking to head things away at the front post. So this was our setup last season. Romero and Van de Ven were not on man marking duties, and we didn't really have anyone at the front post. And you had the likes of Son and Werner doing the man marking. Now, if you look at the difference now to this is a corner in the second half we conceded against. We didn't concede the corner, but this is a setup against West Ham. This was on the weekend. So as you can see, it's difficult to see, but first of all, big difference is Solanke's right there, that front post. So that makes a big difference, doing that kind of Harry Kane role that we saw him do for many, many years at Tottenham. At that front post, anything comes at the near post, he just heads it away, which we didn't really have that. And also a difference here is Romero and Van de Ven are now doing the man-marking duties a bit further out from goal. What's quite interesting is actually the setup is not totally different. So you've still got Porro at the front post, you've still got Udogie at the back post, you've still got Basuma in the centre of the park there. Also, you've got Son a bit further out. But I think the big difference is now Van de Ven and Romero getting much more involved in the man-marking duties rather than doing the zonal duties a bit deeper. And that's obviously leading... They're obviously, if you in this picture, Romero is on Max Kilman, and Van de Ven, I think, is on... he's on the guy at the back post. I can't quite see who it is. I think Todibo's actually being marked by Brendan Johnson. And so Brendan Johnson...
Is it Antonio at the back post?
It might be Antonio. But last season, Romero and Van de Ven were stuck to their zonal roles. Now Romero and Van de Ven are doing the man-marking roles. And I think that's a positive switch, because you want your best defenders making sure they're getting tight to the opposition's best headers of the ball. And that's their centre-backs. And it looks like Van de Ven and Romero are getting much more involved with that, coupled with the fact that Solanke's now at the near post as well. That's leading to a lot more robust, I think, execution from defensive set pieces.
Yeah, and that's a big criticism that people were having last season when we were poor at these set pieces. Everyone was saying enough of this zonal marking. Let's get to man marking, and I don't think it's like kind of the whole way there. I think like it's a kind of like hybrid between zonal and man-to-man marking at these corner situations at the moment. And I think you got to say it's working a treat. It is working at the moment. The only corner that we've conceded is against Arsenal, where Romero really should have had his man in Gabriel, so we probably should have snuffed that one out. So I think it's working really well when in terms of like this hybrid, getting Romero, our best headers of the ball, Romero and Van de Ven, really man-to-man marking against our biggest threats that we're going to face. And Ange has made a tweak, and everyone says he doesn't make tweaks, and he's made one, he's made it in a very positive light. So you've got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, and we went over this stat on the weekend, but I think it's important to note for this video, which Ben White tweeted. We did it on Reacts, but I think it's important to note 58 corners faced this season over 11 matches with only one goal conceded, and that was the goal against Arsenal. So it definitely does seem to be working. We're not conceding the same level of goals, albeit I did think at the beginning of last season. I don't think people saw set pieces as a problem. It was maybe midway
Started
through the
at that
season.
Everton game, didn't it?
Yeah, the Everton game became it was very apparent. No, it was the Man City game in the cup.
The Man City game, yeah.
When Vicario struggled in that one.
But you know what? It's like people figured it out, didn't they, at that point? So maybe there is a case that people can figure out the way we're defending as well at this point in time. But there has been a narrative around Ange Postecoglou and the clubs that he's managed at. In his first year, he always seems to concede a lot of set pieces, a lot of corners, and he always bats them away, saying, yeah, I don't really care about it. And then it always seems to get figured out in that second season, and they always seem to concede a lot less set pieces.
So maybe that's part of the process of us figuring it out. And clearly, at the moment it's working. Look, we could be sitting here in 10 games' time having conceded like a bunch of set pieces. I was thinking we've been found out here. But at the moment, you have to give him credit because he has changed things up, and it does seem to be a case that we are conceding a lot more. It's not even just less goals, that's evident to see, but as we saw the stats, less chances just in general than we were last season.
And you know what? There's been a few cases of, because look, the narrative around Ange, isn't it, is like he plays one way, it's his way or the highway, and which that might be true, but that doesn't mean he doesn't make slight tweaks to things to where he sees the issues. The corner thing is one example. Another example is this season in terms of not keeping his fullbacks as inverted as they were the whole of last season. You are seeing Udogie and Porro get a lot more wider now, which allows Son and Brennan Johnson to get on the inside a little bit more. And also in certain games, he allows the team to go a bit more transitional instead of just like heavily kind of dominating that possession. So you are seeing these little tweaks to swing momentum in our favour.
Yeah, definitely. I felt like last season there were moments where we were transitional, but I felt like that was a consequence of us having less control. Not because we decided to do that, just because the opposition would have a bit more control, because we weren't able to control games in the way we can this season. Now it seems like a conscious choice now. Like we've shown at the beginning of the season, if we want control, we can have it, and if we want to make the game more transitional to open up a bit of space, we can do that as well. So I think that's a bit of a difference. I think that we've seen from last season.
Yeah.
Obviously, we went through the defensive set pieces. So looking at the attacking set pieces now. This is an interesting tweet I saw from Simon Yemeni saying, now we've established our defensive corner issue has been exaggerated. Can we focus on our attacking corners? We have taken 76 corners this season. We average 14 corners a game, which is a monstrous number, by the way.
Bloody 12 just in the first half of the West Ham game.
But they rarely feel effective or dangerous. A huge opportunity for improvement. As you see here on the stats, we are first in the league so far this season for corners. I am doing this just off memory, but I can only think of one goal. That was Romero against Everton. I don't think we've scored any other ones off the top of my head.
Not that I can remember.
Not that I can remember. I think it's only the goal against Everton that we've scored, albeit I can think of numerous chances we've created, but in terms of goals scored. But on the positive side, given that we get so many corners a game, there is definitely an opportunity there to become a lot more effective from set pieces and look for those opportunities. In terms of like the barefaced stats, how we're doing compared to last season from attacking set pieces, this is quite interesting. Last season, we were second bottom. You can see here, this is again shot creating actions from set piece situations. We were second bottom in the whole league for essentially chances created from set pieces. Throughout the whole season. Only Sheffield United created less chances from set pieces than we did last season.
But again, I think it's a situation where we got better throughout the season, because you remember that game at the back end, that Arsenal game when we were 3-0 down at half time. We created numerous amounts of opportunities from set pieces in that game. And I do kind of vaguely remember, like, from that point on till the end of the season, we started to create more chances from our corners, and Romero was really dangerous. And like, Romero seems to be in the thick of the action in all our attacking set pieces at the moment.
Yeah, and to be fair, Man City were near the bottom as well, so maybe it's not the best indication of how good you are from set pieces, or maybe just Man City a lot more effective, but they're also near the bottom, but near the top are the good sides who are good at set pieces, like Arsenal, West Ham, Brentford, Liverpool. They're all quite good at set pieces last season, so we're near the top. Now, that was last season, so if we look at this season, how we're getting on from attacking set pieces, as you can see here, not like amazing, but we're like now mid-table. I think it's 10th?
Yeah.
First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Yeah, 10th, exactly 10th. 10th, we're actually level with Arsenal, who are like 7th, and only 2 behind second. So obviously, again, small sample size, only 8 games in. But what we're seeing here is definitely a positive trend in terms of we're not in the bottom of the league anymore. We're now mid-table. Obviously, everything's a process. I'm not expecting us to be top of the league after being bottom, but you're seeing general improvement. And as much as we could probably be doing better from set pieces, as we said, 1 goal from the most corners in the league. The trend is definitely positive, where we're creating more chances than we were per game last season from set pieces.
Yeah. Having said that, the set pieces against West Ham were tragic, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were so frustrating. I felt like they got better in the second half once Maddison went off. I think like Maddison was putting in some poor deliveries, and then Sonny, when he started to get on corner duty, it did start to get a little bit better. But look, it's a positive step. It's a positive step forward, and to create the same amount as Arsenal, is that the stat there? Past dead? Is that?
Yeah. Same
So
amount
to
as
create
Arsenal.
the same amount as Arsenal, who were the best in the league at it last season, I don't know if that tells you that people are figuring out Arsenal a bit more, or that Spurs have got a lot better, or maybe a bit of both. But look, it's definitely positive signs.
Well, obviously, Arsenal have probably scored a few more. You can, off the top of your head, Gabriel got a couple against Spurs and against City as well. So clearly, they've scored more goals than us. But in terms of the shot creating actions, it's very, very similar, or exactly the same actually after 8 games. Again, Arsenal have had tougher away games or whatever, and you can add context to these. Obviously, stats is always context dependent, but just in general terms, last season, one of the worst teams in terms of creating chances. Now mid-table, and actually not far off the teams near the top. So I think the general trajectory is positive. I think defensively is the main improvement as well, which was one of our biggest weaknesses last season. And I wouldn't go as far as say it's completely rectified, because once you change things, teams notice and then they work out. And so we've got to see how we adapt to teams approaching our set pieces differently against us now. But I just in general, it's a positive that Ange has definitely changed things up a bit. Definitely change the organisation from the set pieces, and as you can see, we're definitely conceding less chances at the moment, so that's a positive.
Yeah, and all you can ask for is things to go in the right direction, things to keep progressing, and I think you're clearly seeing that. Like I mentioned before, Ange is clearly making tweaks to the team in a positive manner, and it proves to me, not just this, but all these little tweaks that he's doing, all the way that Spurs are playing at the moment just solidifies in my mind that this guy is the right man for the job. So hopefully we can see this keep going in a positive trajectory from now until the end of the season, and hopefully we'll be sitting here in a few months' time with a few more goals from corners and set pieces.
I mean, if you marry up these stats with the fact that we do seem to be a lot more dangerous going forward now as well, we're getting more goals, it seems. I think, top of the league or second in the league for goals scored, second for XG as well. So clearly that's starting to click a bit as well, which is really, really positive. So I think there's a lot of reasons to be positive about Tottenham at the moment, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally agree. And you do see like different kind of ways that we're setting up our attacking set pieces as well. We're doing these short corners a lot and then getting the cross in the box, which is good to see, because you want to see a variation. I don't like it when it's just always that short set piece and it's the same thing over and over again. But what you want to see is variation and progression, and I think Spurs are showing that at the moment. So what I'm more delighted about this is the defending set pieces, because it's just seemed like at some point throughout last season, like when the team got a corner against us, it was like a penalty. It was just so frustrating. So it's good to see that Spurs have cut that out for the most part for now. The attacking set pieces have got better, but obviously can get a lot better as well, with only 1 goal scored from corners so far this season in the first 8 games. So signs of progression. Let us know what you think in the comments section below as well. Do you think this set piece situation can be put to bed now? Have Spurs rectified the problem? Has Ange Postecoglou found the solution to our set piece issues? Let us know in the comment section below. Thank you everyone for watching today. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.